Welcome to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. Each week, She Rebel Radio brings you insights and advice from women entrepreneurs who transformed their prestige prisons into daring entrepreneurial success stories. Now, here is your host, Lulu Nins.
Welcome to episode 63 of She Rebel Radio, powering up your community with Nicky Chisholm and Sara Guiel from the Mumpreneurs Networking Club. Nicky and Sara co-founded the award-winning Mumpreneurs Networking Club back in 2010 due to the fact traditional networking was rarely suitable for working mums. Over the last 10 years, they've grown with networking groups across all of London and the South East. Sara even attended Downing Street to support the launch of the NatWest Alison Rose Review for Female Entrepreneurship here in the UK. Having recently moved their events online due to the pandemic, MNC have created a learning hub and also have a series of masterclasses coming up online. Nicky and Sara, it's amazing to have you here. How are you both doing today?
Morning.
Hello.
It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, it's really good to have you on She Rebel Radio. And I would love to kick off with, as the saying goes, necessity is the mother of all inventions. Tell me the circumstances for you both in creating the community that MNC stands to be today.
Sara, do you want to do this? Because I know you love this story.
Well, I was a magazine editor, and one day I got a phone call from this lady who said, if you're an editor of a magazine, I need to be in it. Come and meet me. So I was told, and I met Nicky. I was very pregnant with my third child. I sat in a coffee shop in Brighton, and Nicky walked in. I was feeling like a beach whale. Nicky walked in with this big smile, high heels, shock of peroxide blonde hair, and said, right, we need to do business. And that's kind of where it started.
Amazing. Nicky, from your perspective, what was the kind of intention of that reach out for you?
I suppose, like anything, I'm a networker by nature, and I love reaching out to people. So I saw that she was an editor of a magazine, thought it would be a natural fit for what I was doing. I was doing webinars and seminars for mums and family men and women that set up their own businesses. So I thought, naturally, if I reach out to Sara, I knew she was new on the block, so we could potentially work together. And then as Sara and I met the first day, and I think we've been friends and colleagues and camping partners and surfing partners and drinking partners for 10 years. Mm-hmm. So that meeting really changed the course of both our lives in terms of personal and in business. So from one phone call, it's amazing what has happened from just reaching out and thinking, I like this lady, let's see what happens.
Yeah, so powerful. And did you both meet at a different networking event or online or?
No, that was the start of our relationship. And once we were sort of done moaning, as you know, we were both business women, and we were bemoaning the fact that we couldn't get to other networking events because we had children, and most networking events at the time were at were at breakfast time or tea time, and they're the busiest times in any family house. Yeah. And so we decided we would try ourselves to do one after the school run. 15 women in a room in Brighton turned up for our first meeting. And some of those ladies who turned up for our first meeting are still members today.
Yeah, they are. They're our super networkers and our super cheerleaders. We just found I wanted a network, and so did Sara. And because we're the primary child carers, which is, like a majority of women, we just could not network for love nor money, because everything was before the school run, when we were actually on the school run and getting the kids ready. And then afterwards, at the end of the day at 4 or 5 o'clock, again, there were networking meetings, but we couldn't attend them because we're doing the school run, bringing them home, doing homework, doing clubs. So we just literally could not find anywhere to network. So it was a natural progression. And from those 15 women in a room, I think we're now nearly up to 40,000 people come through the doors. So, from one tiny conversation, honestly, it makes me feel so proud when I think about it.
Yeah, it's such an incredible achievement, and it really rings bells of, I don't know if either of you have read the book Invisible Women, but
love that book.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? And I recently, really looking at an article of like time is a woman's biggest enemy, but it's not just that. It's really that women and their needs are rarely taken into account in terms of the gender data gap.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a long way to go before there's parity. But I think in the past 10 years since we've started, we've seen lots of changes. There are now many more different opportunities that go on during the school day. And there's been a real shift with technology. We've now found that, we intentionally set up our business network for family women in business, but now we welcome a lot more fellas as well, because they're working from home as well. And if nothing else, what this pandemic has done, I think has created a shift towards home working. And I don't think home working or working from home will be the poor relation going forward out of this pandemic anymore.
No, yeah, that's a great quote. Won't be the poor relation. And yeah, it's so important to recognise, isn't it, that guys always want to spend time with their families, and women are ripping up the rules of traditional business networking, with you ladies being leaders within that. In terms of the pandemic, how do you feel that has affected women who are running businesses and have had their kids at home for months at a time? What have you seen coming up for your members?
Sara, shall I start? And then
go on.
So we struggled as soon as the homeschooling kicked in. We had a massive drop off of our community for the simple reason that they are running their own businesses, but now they're homeschooling and running a house and doing the cooking and doing the cleaning and doing the homeschooling and doing the homework, and just trying to keep. that is way too many balls for one woman to be juggling. So we saw a massive drop off of people participating in the networking, literally putting their businesses on hold, because you just can't do it. Some of them couldn't even keep it on tick over. If you've got 3 kids, you're homeschooling with 3 computers, Wi-Fi's, or sharing computers and doing it in shifts. It proved an absolute puzzle of complete enormity that it proved impossible to actually complete. Do you agree, Sara?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. And also, I think the biggest one of the biggest issues has been utter exhaustion. I don't think families or business women or family women have ever been asked to take on so much in such a short space of time with no support. I can't think of another time when any woman has been asked to look after her children 24 hours a day without even a break. And and I realise that that's what you do when you have children, that's what you sign up for. But every other generation before us has either had a break of childcare or a family member maybe for 2 hours a week. But our members have been asked to run their businesses and homeschool with no break. And I think exhaustion is one of the biggest things we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what, a client mentioned to me, she might have made a different life choice. She knew what she was signing up for, but it wasn't this, in terms of, being a mum and running a business. And she was joking, but, in all seriousness, in terms of the exhaustion, and as you said, running a business alongside having absolutely no support with childcare, what would your advice be, I guess, to women, that it is naturally fallen on women over men?
I think one of the things is just be kind to yourself. It is not physically possible to do everything, and especially with the homeschooling. And we've definitely seen now, once the children went back to school in September, we've definitely seen a massive uptake in the engagement and the bookings coming back in the community, where people want to kickstart their businesses, they want to upgrade, they want to grow, they're ready to do that. But then that means obviously they've had the space to do that. Women, I know Sara and I, we're really hard on ourselves. We've got really high expectations and we work really hard. But you do have to cut yourself some slack. It's just not possible to do that. If you can take a step back and think, okay, I just can't do everything, it's completely fine. And you know what? Majority of women that have got businesses and childcare, they're all in the same boat. It is okay to step back. It is okay to step down a little bit, to just give yourself a break. I think that's really important, because otherwise you're going to drive yourself nuts.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's really important is to find your support network or find your support crew, you know, those 4 or 5 people or a whole network that can pick up some slack for you somewhere along the way. You know, they might be able to physically help you out with your family circumstances and homeschooling, but they may be able to pick up some business slack, or there may be someone that can at least listen to you, you know, if you need to offload.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think, you know, is there space for, and I've heard this, you know, with women during the pandemic that have felt not able to ask their partners due to the fact that their husbands may earn more money than them?
Oh, do you know what? That's a massive question, and I think it comes down to individuals. It comes down to individual circumstances, and in the end, it's all about money, because it was so tight and so stressful over that period that people were, you know, really looking at their bills, looking at food, looking at making sure their mortgages or the rents are paid. So it was really hard for absolutely everybody, and everyone had to find their own survival guide to get through it.
Yeah, it really triggered safety and security needs, didn't it, across the board?
Oh, absolutely.
So what did you do at MNC to support your network of women at such a difficult and unprecedented time, to use a buzzword from the pandemic? But I've, you know, really been reflecting this time last year. We just we weren't aware this was coming, and life has changed massively. So what were your kind of immediate steps to try and support the women in your network who were having to take that step back?
Sara, I remember March the 13th, that's when we made the decision. It's literally seared into my head. March the 13th, that's when we made decisions. We've got to take our in real life meetings online. And do you want to talk about what was our mission statement? Because that was our first public acknowledgement of what we were going to do to support the community.
Yeah, I do. I remember that day really well, actually. We made that decision overnight, and I don't think either of us had really used Zoom before. But now we're Zoom pros.
It's an like expertise.
Oh, well, we started, the statement was to keep our community visible and therefore give them a greater chance of staying viable. We'd never done online networking before as a community, and other than the community that we have on Facebook and Twitter, but we hadn't run our meetings ever online before. So we took, as Nicky said, we took them all online overnight, and we worked our way through it. We were literally, you know, sewing that parachute on the way down.
Yeah.
What? Sorry, Nicky, I interrupted.
No, we were. It was so stressful because we were trying to get 20 meetings or 22 meetings a month online on a platform that we didn't know about, that we didn't understand. And then we had to train our managers to utilize the tech and deliver a template of running a meeting all in the space of 24 hours, or literally 48 hours. It was so ridiculous and so stressful. I think I went into the garden and had a right old meltdown at one point.
With a glass of wine?
No, I think it was in the middle of the day, so I didn't even start drinking in the middle of the day.
Dangerous in lockdown, that would be.
We did. I did have a massive meltdown because it was so stressful. But I think, honestly, Sara and I, without even a blink of an eye, we just said, we are going to do this. We've got to find a way out. We could have said, we're just going to stop. But we just said, we have got to do this. How are we going to do it? So literally, I can feel it in every ounce of our bodies. We were like, we've got to turn this round. We've got to get our community online, and we have got to get them connected, inspired, and visible for the next 6 months. And that's what we did.
Yeah. I need to put my teeth back in. I've forgotten what I was going to say. We had a duty of care to our members. You know, they are members, they pay a membership fee, and we had a duty of care to our managers who had shown loyalty and faith up to that point. We could have furloughed ourselves and walked away. I mean, I don't know what sort of business we would have had coming back to, but decided we had a duty of care. So we just put on our biggest boots and got to work.
Yeah, and I can feel like both of your passion behind that and that duty to your members, as you said, Sara, your duty of care, and that motivation, of your why you do what you do. Looking back at that, I think I first hopped on one of your meetings. I can't even remember. I think it was April, May, but you definitely had the format down, you had the energy going, and it was a really incredible meeting. Looking back at that, and not even knowing what Zoom was, well, I'm sure you knew what it was, but how to use it. What have been your biggest lessons, I guess, in terms of or celebrations, looking back at how you achieved supporting your members in the way that you have?
Sara, can I do the stats? Because you know me, I love my stats, and then you can do
stats.
Then you can do what you've learned.
Okay, well, what we've learned is that you need a massive team effort. If you haven't got people with expertise to help you, you are really going to struggle. So what Nicky and I did, because we knew we know we can't do everything.
Yeah.
And we know we have certain challenges. Technology is one of my biggest challenges. So we knew we had to find people to help us. So we decided to launch Crowdfunder to raise the finance to keep the community on track and to make sure that we looked after all those experts that we always have on board with us so that they could continue helping us through and share their expertise with the community.
Amazing. And I forgot that you did a crowdfunder to support the changes that you were making. That's incredible. Nicky,
we did. One of the biggest issues is when you work from home, there is very little support out there. So there have been discretionary grants and funding for lots of different businesses, but for those that work from home, there's been very, very little. And we were one of those companies that didn't qualify for anything, so we had to do it ourselves. So that's why we launched the crowdfunder, because we knew we didn't want to lose the team that we had. The worst time of any time ever to tell people you no longer need their services. So we had to do something, and therefore our community have benefited from that. And I think that's borne out, Nicky, isn't it, by the stats?
Absolutely. What we committed to, and to be fair, at the beginning, we had a plan, we turned it all online, but, there was a lot of winging it because we'd never done it before. We've got a whole team of sort of 30 people, the HQ team and the management team, all behind us. And we were literally jumping in with both feet, just giving it our best shot. And, that worked really well. So today, we've had over 120 Zoom meetings, and we've had over 5,000 people attend. That's just bonkers, and that is in the worst time of economic history. And that's what we did. We did it. And don't get me wrong, by some Fridays, we were utterly on our knees, but we knew we'd kept the community visible, viable, connected. And for some people who were working from home on their own, it was the only time they were out meeting people. So, I feel so proud thinking about what we've done. And we haven't really had a chance to take a breather and think, okay, the community's there, and what's going to happen now in 2021? My goodness, where are we going, Sara?
Incredible. And how did that for you? As we've said, everybody's safety and security needs were shaken at that time, as you just said, Sara, as well. You didn't qualify for any support from the government whatsoever. And I'm not criticizing, I'm not turning it into a political thing, but neither did many of your members, myself being self-employed, etc. How did you overcome that and really focus on your community being viable, being visible, as you said?
I think with Nicky and I, we feel really strongly for all those small business. We're a small business. We've been a smaller business, and we absolutely know the challenges in normal times as family business women or the self-employed. We know the challenges in usual times without the added consideration of a global pandemic to add into those extra challenges. And I think it was, our community has been loyal to us. They have supported us. And I think it was time for us to step up and show our community that we were there for them.
Yeah, we did. I mean, in terms of finance, we had to go out and get a bounce back loan to keep the community going. We were, we just did not absolutely want to say to any of the head office team, that's it, you've gone, because we all knew they had families. We all knew they had, mortgages to pay, and it would just break my heart to do that. So that's what we decided to do to keep the business going. We had the crowdfunding money come through as well. So we knew we had a finance plan for the next year in front of us. And then we decided to put some energy into the community. And so every morning we went live, right from the very first morning. We are here for you. We're checking in, say hello. And it was brilliant. Those mornings, 7:30, people were hopping on, saying hello, waving. And it was just, we're massive advocates of continuity, keep turning up and keep being visible. So we were doing the daily stuff, and then we did MNC 100. Sara, do you want to talk about MNC 100, because that was a little bit of fun that we did for the community, and again the first of its kind in the UK.
Yep, MNC 100 was, I'm not quite sure how we came up with the idea, but it was one of the things we put on from our crowdfunders. So people bought tickets to attend MNC 100. We just thought we would try and we would do something completely different for the community. We'd get 100 people online at the same time. We had no idea how it was going to work out. And we've always supported, we've got a couple of charities that are really close to our hearts. And we know that charities are really hurting at this time. So we thought if we could get as many people online as possible, have a bit of fun, donate some money to charity at the same time, it would really raise everybody's profile and give everybody a bit of a feel-good factor during the summer. And we did. We had 100 people online, and it was great fun. It was the first of its kind in the UK, we believe, don't we, Nicky?
Oh, absolutely. And it was 100 people all networking. And it was the first time we were using Zoom. It was the first time that we were using breakout rooms for multiple breakout rooms at multiple times with multiple people. And I was doing the tech. And I can tell you, I literally had tears rolling down my cheeks thinking, please let this go right. Please let this go right. Please let me hit the right buttons.
Amazing. I attended MNC 100. I don't think it was my first meeting, but it was it was incredible. And looking at such incredible statistics of supporting, as you said, putting your boots on and getting out there and supporting your community, and that as a result, and getting the finances you need to do that. And you've supported over 5,000 people online. What benefits have you seen for the community in having that support online compared to in person?
Ooh.
Nicky, do you go first, or do you want me to go first?
No, you go first. I need to think about that one.
Okay, well, the instant benefit is that all those who could only attend one meeting a month have been able to go to multiple meetings. So they have been able to spread their network, their contacts network, much further afield. And for some of our members, they have had their best months ever during the pandemic because they've had access to online meetings and not in real life meetings.
Yeah.
So they've been able to travel much further. They've been able to take their businesses, regional rather than really local. And they've met people in similar industries to themselves, or similar professions or trades to themselves. And they've gained much more support from that as well. So where they thought they were the only, cake baker in that area, if they've met one who is further afield regionally, they've been able to brainstorm and work things out. And, they've had a coming together where they've got a new support network.
Yeah, really important. And particularly at the time of difficulty, brainstorming with someone who's got a similar business to you as to how you can shift and change how you're delivering. Amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, it is so heartwarming when you see members saying, I've had my best month since February.
Yeah, incredible.
It's brilliant. And that's because they've been able to meet so many people, because they haven't got to travel. They haven't got to worry so much about time limits, petrol. They can just literally, hop out. We say, you can literally hop out of bed and go networking. Nicky and I would not recommend it. We would always recommend you are professionally representing what you do. But, it does mean that there's less traveling time and people can actually get more work done.
Yeah. Nicky?
I think one of the other things as well to Sara and I is we looking at the activity engagement within the community. Obviously, we're very regional based. So what we decided to do during lockdown is to launch MNC UK. So this then was a national networking meeting. So wherever you are in the UK, you could meet online. So it was basically spreading our reach to people across the UK, because we were getting people coming forward to say, well, I'm not in Worthing, I'm not in Chichester, I'm not on the South Coast. So we set that up as a product. So the last meeting we've got people from the Orkney Islands, people from Portugal, people from France, and someone down on the Isle of Wight. Oh, and obviously you down in Devon and Cornwall.
Yes, exactly. So spreading the word.
It was just another way to give people another platform to reach out, connect across the UK and find new customers. And that's what it was all about, finding new customers and giving people new opportunities to connect. We're really good at MNC HQ, opening doors and creating opportunities. So that's what we do. And then we need our members to sort of step through the door and spark a conversation and take up that opportunity with a potential customer, client, partner, sponsor, host, whatever.
Yeah, and really leading by example there and creating new products, new events, and really running with your mission and your why in powering up your community and making them visible and viable. Why is it important for women in particular, and I know men are also welcome to Mumpreneurs as a network, but why is it important that women have a powered up community?
Oh, I could go on for hours about that. But it's because still women are generally the majority caregiver in the home, whether that's with elderly parents or whether that's with children. Therefore, if they are trying to work their business around a family, there are unique challenges with that. And if they are networking or their business community understands those challenges, there is that support there. But I think it does present family women with a unique set of challenges because there isn't quite the gender parity that we would hope for at this time. And it's getting there. We are getting there. We are making taking very small steps towards it. But I think it's, there is challenges around it. And it's always good to be talking to someone who understands the fundamental issues that you have.
Absolutely.
One thing that all the women in our community, there is commonality between them. They're driven, they're ambitious, they want to do something. They've got 6 hours a day. They work around the school pick up, the school drop off. They're working around the holidays. They're working around inset days. They're working around phone calls. People pick up your child. They're not very well. That's what they're working around. And it is in the wider business. If you're not working full time, it's frowned upon. And this one really annoys me. If you're not earning a six-figure salary, or your income isn't a six-figure salary, you're not doing a good job. If you can bring in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever, £60,000 to your family income while being the primary child carer and while working around the school day and while working around the school holidays, it should be absolutely applauded, because coaches and blooming articles constantly bang on about a six-figure salary. It makes these business owners think, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing a good job. And I tell you what, please, can we have a podcast on that? Lulu Mins.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It definitely should be. And again, I feel like this is such a running theme through this episode, but also the podcast in general, invisible women. I frequently say the 9 to 5 wasn't designed for women, by women, but we've been forced to fit into it.
I like that.
Yeah, totally forced fit. And I stand by that, whether you have children or not. We're much more cyclical in our nature. And, I could go on about that for God knows how long, so I won't digress. But how can we, within that, support other women? you know, as you said with that, because I love that in terms of, you know, not making other women feel bad because they're not earning six figures or they're not, you know, working 10, you know, I know, and you know, my background in the legal profession, you know, it was almost a badge of honor to come into the office at 5 a.m.
Oh, I can't, you know, those sort of virtue signaling traditional, we could go on about that for ages. But I think that, you know, it is to be applauded that people are working around their families or are working around their commitments. You're right, that 9 to 5 wasn't designed for women. I mean, in our community, if somebody puts a shout out late on Facebook because they're working towards a deadline, they're working at 11 at night, but they've had 4 hours off leading up to that, putting the kids to bed and organising their homework, there will always be somebody there who's working those late hours. And it might be a woman who's trying to break out of a corporate environment. So she's putting in the hours late at night at home so that she can build a better, you know, or a different life for herself, an entrepreneurial life for herself.
Yeah.
And it is, you know, that I was awake at 5 a.m. working or whatever. You know, our women aren't working traditional hours. So they may well be working at 5 a.m., but it won't be because because they want a badge of honor. It's because they're getting 2 hours in before they start the breakfast.
Yeah. So I'm really good. I'm an early bird. So I'm often up early and I annoy Sara and I send her loads of messages saying, have we done this? Have we done that? What about this? What about that? And then I go to bed at like 9 o'clock and then Sara's the night owl. And then she sends me loads of messages that I get in the morning.
I love that though, because you've got like 24-hour cover because one of you one of you goes to bed, the other one's up.
Yeah, but equally we absolutely drive each other nuts.
Yeah, I can see that, but it's like the opposites. But again, another one of my sayings is I said it the other day to a few people, not in a business context actually, but you know, an empowered woman is a woman who's in charge of her own rhythm.
Ooh. Yeah, we like that. Do you know what we find? Women in the community, they're naturally very, you give them the right environment and they thrive. So we see them come into MNC, they get onto a Zoom call, it might be their first meeting, and I purposely watch them and I see how they grow over the next few months. So they're very quiet to start with, and then they find their wings, then they find their feet, and then they're chatting, and then they attend one meeting and then two meetings, and then they come to MNC UK, and then they're on Twitter Hour, and you can just see them grow and grow and grow. You give them an environment that they feel safe in, that they have a voice in. And I'm telling you, it is just so brilliant to watch them just grow and grow and grow. And because they're growing, they're getting customers, they're getting their name out, they're getting into multiple locations at multiple times across a number of months. And it works. They are natural networkers if you give them the right environment. And they're more than happy to help, support, share, comment, and buy from that community. I'd say they're naturally very, very good at that. Sara, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it time and time again. And that's by giving them the right environment to start off with. Our network is a friendly network. And if people just give it a go, they'll see that there is a space there where they can really grow.
Yeah, and you really do create an amazing space for, you know, women that are new in their businesses and have never networked on their own terms before. And, you know, I think what's come through here as well is so often women do pick being self-employed or freelancing, etc., so they can have that balance with their family life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, as Nicky said before, one of the things that we find that can put women off going out and networking and trying to build their businesses sometimes is that constant touting of the six figures. People forget that actually what a lot of business women want to do is make a really solid economic contribution to their household income. And that doesn't have to be six figures. It could be 10,000, it could be 20,000. And, you know, our network gives them the space to find a friendly, welcoming, and, you know, an empowering network or an empowering space that will allow them to do that without the sort of traditional, oh no, your business can't be good enough, you're not earning six figures yet.
Yeah.
Sara and I, you know, on multiple occasions, we've been to networking meetings and we say, you know, we run the Mumpreneurs Networking Club. I absolutely delight in doing this now. And they say, oh, Mumpreneurs, and then you say, oh yeah, absolutely. We're running a business networking meeting. We're currently just working towards 50,000 visits. We have an app. We've been to Downing Street. We worked in NatWest. We've worked with the White Company. Obviously I don't chuck all that in, but I pique their interest and to say, don't be so rude, and you listen. And because it's not, I'm not a banker or something. I love it. I absolutely take utter glee in it now. And then you start to people think, oh wow, this is I'm going to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to throw it out there. I feel like a lot of coaches, etc., probably lead with the 6 figures because they're trying to pull people in who are not working with people in terms of their own actual goals, right? It's quite easy to set a goal from someone and not actually do the work with them to set a goal around what is actually authentic and in alignment with them. So yes, Nicky, maybe that is a podcast episode.
Pulling people into the 6-figure salary, instead of pulling them into a 6-figure salary, pull them into your table, pull up a chair at my table. So many women, and this is another podcast, imposter syndrome, so many women and men that we've had on our Twitter hour last night, they just think they're not good enough. They just think I'm not worthy of sitting at your table. And I think rather than trying to pull you into a massive salary or pull you into a direction you don't want to go, pull them into your table, sit them at your table, work with them, be part of that, and leverage the business and the time and the resources that these women have around their families. Pull them up into our table.
Yeah, definitely. And get really clear about helping people with the meaning and purpose of what they're doing and their why, because, that's really come across with how clear it is for you and your business. And that's really what pulls it forward, not the money and not the finances. So that's really powerful. So tell us about the series of masterclasses that you have coming up online as another means to supporting your members with, viable businesses and being visible.
Well, this is really exciting. We haven't done it before. It is something we have decided upon for the last part of this year. And if they're a success, we will continue them. We have got, as you know, Lulu, great experts in our community. And we want to make sure that our community are skilled up enough to take on whatever the future is. So that's why we've had a series that we've published this over the next month or so. And they are great subjects as well. So the first obvious one for us was networking, because we do feel that some people need a little bit of help on how they present themselves and what they can get out of networking and what they should be doing to keep themselves visible online. But we've also got we want to use the experts in our community as well. So we've got other ones, imposter syndrome, with one of our members, Lulu McCarriger, who's an expert in that field. She did a brilliant Twitter hour last night on that. And then, of course, yourself, you're going to tell us how we can use our intuition and how we can use that in our businesses. And these are designed for our community to really upskill, to make sure they can make the most of what, the next year that's coming up. Is that fair to say, Nicky?
Yeah, absolutely. It was our commitment again to our community to keep them visible and keep them viable. And what we're thinking of doing is a next set of masterclasses in January. So yeah, the masterclasses, they're webinars, you book online, and it's really, we just want to give another resource to our community to, get them into 2021.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we're really grateful for the time that these experts have offered, like yourself, and we're really looking forward to yours. And we've made sure that they are really accessible for our community to attend as well. So they don't need to go and sign up to some massive, masterclass where they're touting the 6 figures. These are really accessible. It'll cost them 5 coffees over a month to come and attend these webinars.
Amazing. And we will post the links to both of those and the other ones that you've got coming up, imposter syndrome with Louise MacArthur, and then the dialing up your intuition. And, I know there's some that you're hosting and things like that as well, but they may be prior to when we go live with this podcast episode, but we'll post all of that. And what else is next for you and MNC? What's coming up, as you said, 2021?
Oh, do you want to go first or me?
No, you go first.
Okay, well, as always, Sara and I are always really committed. We have a goal of getting 50,000 people through the doors to our networking meetings and our events. Now, by the end of 2021, I think we would have hit that 50,000. So that's a massive sort of overarching goal to our sort of ongoing activities. I think on the smaller side of it, we're going to do another load of webinars, and we absolutely want to grow MNC UK so that we're reaching and engaging and connecting with small business entrepreneurs across the UK. So we'll be developing MNC, and then in January, we're bringing back our brand champions. And Sara, do you want to say a bit more about brand champions?
Yes, brand champions. We piloted brand ambassadors over the past sort of 2 years or so with great results, mixed results, and really good feedback. So what we're going to do for 2021, we are going to look for our MNC champions. So these will be our members who are super involved in the community, who we've seen helping others in the community. And we want to put a really sort of crack team of MNC champions who can help us spread the word about MNCs. We know with MNC UK, there are businesswomen all over the UK who don't have access at the moment to a community or a network like MNC. So that's where we're really going to be trying to develop sooner, so that we can bring those women into our community so they can get the help and the upskilling that they need to push their businesses forward.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing and both of you being such an inspiration for powering up your community. Have an amazing rest of the day, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Lulu.
It's enjoyable. Thanks, Lulu.
Thanks for listening to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. She Rebel Radio is executive produced and hosted by women's advocate and coach Lulu Mims. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. You can find Lulu Mims on Facebook and LinkedIn at Lulu Mims, and on Instagram at LuluMims_biz. Until next week, keep rebelling against the rules and designing success your way.